Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's Let 'em Run here, Freddie York with our Let 'em Run Happy Hour podcast today with my partner John Costin. How we doing, John?
We're doing good on this chilly, windy December day. Crisp out there. We got a lot of running around done this morning, so settling in, watch some races, and get ready for big day tomorrow in our contest and
Yes.
Gulfstream and Aqueduct.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit. That's going to be excellent. I am looking forward to that big time. So we had a meeting today, John, with some of the powers to be within our network here, and it sounds good. I mean, I think we're continuing to see some real positive movement, John, with not just our podcast, but some of our fellow podcasters who are doing things in the soccer world, in the football sports betting world. I thought that was pretty interesting, John.
How about the snooker world? That we are like the number one podcast under our umbrella here that covers snooker in the United States.
I had to look up. I had to Google what snooker was.
Yep. So yeah,
It's pool. It's pool, right? It's pool.
Yep. It's a
What
form
is
of
it?
pool.
Is it a certain kind of pool where they got those bumpers in the middle of the pool?
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never paid any
Hey,
attention
listen,
to it. So,
it was interesting. I learned a lot. I met some of the guys who some I've known what podcasts they were doing, which was cool. You know, it was kind of nice to see what they do. So I think we're all going to grow from that. Once again, Sean Miller, the big gun, the CEO who handles all the things that go on with all of our podcasts, is doing a great job. I think we're going to, get through December and have an opportunity to move forward with a real structure, looking certainly to get some additional support, which we already have some support on. I'll mention that right now. Our two sponsors, Cases Pork Roll, of course, family owned and operated since 1870. Definitely want to try Case for the taste. Of course, then there's also the vape shop in Hamilton, located on Route 33. They have all your vape supplies and a full selection of the top selling CBD. We're ready to pounce on some additional support from some sponsors that we're currently getting involved with. It's tremendous, John. I think that's going to be a big asset to help us grow, right, John? You agree with that?
Yeah, I think our discussions, behind the scenes, with some pretty big players in the the horse industry, would be really great for us, great for them to partner with. So we're trying to finalize all those details, and we'll have an announcement hopefully coming up shortly. And like Fred said, moving into January, get through these holidays, a little hustle bustle with everything. But I think in January, with the structure underneath the umbrella of the Capital Sports Network, you're going to have, basically anything you want to do with sports, to listen to anything about, sports gambling on, all the basketball, college basketball, football, soccer. I mean, the guys that were on today, amazing with soccer.
Yeah.
If you follow and wager on soccer games, I mean, they know their stuff with soccer. We try to know our stuff with horses and give you information. So definitely in the future, you'll see a rounded product here that we're going to offer under the Capital Sports. Can't wait for January to come along.
I agree. I also look forward to the new year for many reasons, John. One of the things I'm going to this time is a real toast, John, because I had my hip replaced 10 days ago. Feeling really good. In fact, when we get done our podcast here, I'm gonna jump into JoJo's and continue this happy hour. So here's to us, John, moving forward, and good luck to our
All
viewers.
the best to your health and your hip and our horse picking. Health, hip, horse picking. The Triple H today.
That's a good one. Hey, speaking of horses, John, we're at Parks on Wednesday. Let's get it.
Unbelievable. You can't make it up. You had to be there, basically, Fred. You had to be there to see what was going on.
I was there.
So it's not making this up. 10 days ago, we entered on that Wednesday. It poured rain so bad that after the second race, they canceled the races. So we turned around and come back home. We didn't go to the track because we canceled our race. So we re-entered a week later. Beautiful day out there. Awesome. We're, at the bar having an adult beverage with the crew that came out to support and watch. Fred and Maria, my buddy James and Andrew, fellow owner, and Chris, trainer Tyler. I mean, it was, my brother got there from work. So everybody's all ready to go.
It was awesome.
And they're ready to, make their way to the paddock. And I'm telling everybody, okay, you guys could go stand over there. I'm going to go in the paddock next to the horse. You could see them saddle the horse. And as we're sitting there and I'm getting ready to walk over, I look out and I see a loose horse. There's a loose horse and the flashing red lights going off. And I'm like, that's probably us, knowing her antics. Sure enough, I walk down there and the trainer's on the phone and it is our horse.
Oh
She got
my
loose.
God.
And
That was bizarre.
at the top of the stretch where they come onto the track, one of the entrances onto the track from the barns,
Right.
the maintenance garage is right next to it. So they were actually, because of the rain was starting to come, they were lowering the harrows, the rakes that go around
Right.
and groom the track. So they
Yes.
were pounding on them with sledgehammers to
Oh,
lower
no.
them a certain thing. And as she walked right by,
Bam.
the loud clang of the metal, she lost it. She reared up. They, the two guys holding her, she's strong as could be, and got away from them. And there was a pony waiting there to, take her, walk her down to the paddock. We had everything covered. She had earplugs in, and she shook
Oh,
the
shit.
earplugs out.
Oh, wow.
She shook them out. The blinkers we had in our pocket, we're going to put them on in the paddock, and she was gone. 2 laps around, they finally caught her, and obviously a scratch. So here we are, back to square one, looking for another spot.
Well,
So
hey,
I'll go stop out to the track tomorrow morning to go check on her. But
check her
all
out.
word
Well,
is she's safe and sound in the stall.
well, the best news about that, John, is that she is safe and sound. That's good
Yep.
to hear. We'll look forward to hearing when J.K. Strong, when she will be running again. And I hope, just so that this is a little selfish on my part, but I hope it's before I go back to work on January 5th. Maybe if not, I'll see what I can do to work it out. I get there anyway, John. I would like that. Was fun. It was the excitement was building. You could tell
Yeah.
the excitement was building. Anyway, good. Thank you for that update. So I want to touch base a little bit as we do on our happy hour. We're not getting deep into our picks. We just talk about the horses and a couple of the races that we highlighted on our pre-podcast information to let you know what we're talking about. I have become, and I know I talked to you about this, John. I'm becoming a real savant. I'm not going to say idiot savant because I don't like that word, but a savant. Getting into the analytics of Brisnet, and I often talk in our podcast about Prime Power and mention, this horse is number one, Prime Power. So I said, I want to see what do the analytics back up here for Prime Power. Very interesting. If a horse is number one Prime Power by +3 above the next horse, they win at a 39% rate. That's pretty strong. But then if they're +6 points, that goes up to a 46% win rate. That's strong. Now, if they're +10, which is rare, you don't see very much, and it certainly makes sense as the horses, the quality of the races get better, that becomes even more valuable. +10, it's 55% chance to win. I mean, that's got to have some value to us as handicappers, John. For me personally.
Yeah, I think I'm a DRF guy. You're leaning more towards Briz, and there's just so many great products out there and whatever you're comfortable with. And when I do peruse the Briz, one of the only things I really look at is like the late early pace figures and the Prime Power. That Prime Power, it just encompasses everything about the horse, all the analytics into that one number called the Prime Power. So when that does stand out, that's usually a single. You could go narrow in that race. And then you mentioned before we got on that if it's really close, like a 0.3 difference, 1.2, if it's really close, that's more of like a spread race that
Sure.
It's so even that you could just hope for, the best odds to win the race. So that Prime Power, like you said, is strong. And if you could catch a horse above even money 2-1 and has that big advantage, that's where you, can, separate.
And that's happened. Yeah. And that has happened. And, or, if you have broken down the racing according to your handicapping style, whatever your style may be. Again, I'm more a Briz, you're a DRF. We use a little bit of both from each of those venues. Certainly there's other factors that we use in our style. I'm not going to use the word system. I hate that word. Yep. But in our style of breaking down races as we decide to pick them, I think that's an important point, that there may be a factor that you use that helps you decide between two horses. Obviously, odds may be helpful. You got a Prime Power that's a number one who's 6-1, and the other horse that looks like is a good horse is 2-1, and it's a 3 or 4 point difference. I think I'm leaning towards the 6-1. So makes sense to me. But good point. Let's go on and talk about some racing here, John. There's 2 races we're going to cover. First, from Gulfstream Park, Tomorrow it's going to be fast and firm down there, which is nice. The turf course has been holding up. They had a little rain earlier in the week, so they're off turf, I think, on Wednesday and Thursday, but they were back on turf today, as you mentioned in our pre-show discussion. And also, they're going to be on turf fast and firm tomorrow. So the first race we're going to look at is the Turf Tropical Oaks for fillies, mile and 16 on turf. These two races, these two fields, for as much as, we look at Gulfstream Park and talk about some of the nuances of Gulfstream Park, two big fields. This field has a field of 12 with two AEs. So I have to believe this race is going to be full. Even if one or two scratch, you're still going to have a field of 12. So we'll cover through these these horses quickly. John, I'll start off with number 1, Smart Union, ridden by Johnny Velasquez, 12-1. This horse in the last race out ran against Nitrogen and Lust Lips and a Florida Oaks Grade 3. That's some pretty serious competition. I'm going to say the horse wasn't disgraced, but prior to that, that horse had a good record in some optional claiming races on turf. 12-1 from the rail, getting Johnny V for the first time. The horse has certainly got a chance, I think, to get into some of the exacted bets, trifecta bets, John.
Yeah, I did this without the morning line odds. So, I was guessing that this was going to be a price horse. I'm pulling it up on my phone here. I could see that this one's 12-1 morning line.
Sure.
And at that, double-digit number, a definite must-use for me. Hooking up with Johnny Velasquez again, who has, one of the wins on the horse. He's 1-for-1. Graham Motion off the long layoff. He's good with those numbers. And a maturing 3-year-old through the summer. And I've seen my 2-year-old grow up month after month. So, 3-year-old.
You know how that works. Yep.
She could come back, 6 months later and be a totally different animal. And, definitely, I think could get the trip from the inside with Johnny V. A must use at double-digit odds. Moving on to the 2 Super Willowa. Trombetta, one of the definite pace factors, and according to Equine Edge, has the pace advantage here in this race.
Yep.
Racing for Mrs. Weber. Well, that's Live Oak Plantation. So the one thing I don't like is first time no Lasix. Horse has been racing on Lasix their whole career. Been bet almost every single time. And now no Lasix the first time. Second time back off the layoff. Definitely fits with these. Trombetta's been doing good on the East Coast here with these turf horses. Had the favorite for the Breeders' Cup filly turf. And the horse didn't run up to what I expected because I picked her that day. But Trombetta's, mild turf horses have been, pretty good. So big shot with this one here.
Yeah, I mean, one of the statistics that we don't see among the many statistics that we do see is, first time Lasix. Yes, I don't see stats that say first time without Lasix. That'd be an interesting stat to add to the, how the style of how maybe we do look at our horses and whatnot. However, this horse won his first, last 2 times out on turf at a mile and 16th at this distance. And the workouts, I'm assuming that, as we often talk about, if the workouts are an indication of how this horse might run without Lasix, if that is true, that the horse was doing those workouts without Lasix, John, I believe you would agree that that's what happened there. Those workouts are pretty solid. So I think this horse is another possible horse to use in a wide open race. The number 3 horse, and one more time, 5-1 morning line, being ridden, the riding being taken over by one of my favorite turf jockeys, Javier Castellano. Has another horse with a pace factor, Mark Cassie, putting horses where they need to win. Won the last 3 times out, looking for 4 wins in a row. Coming down from Woodbine here to Southern Florida and warming up. So I think this horse is probably going to be one of my favorite horses here tomorrow. We'll see how it works out, John.
Yeah, definitely one with a big shot for Cassie, a grade 1 winner in this, non-graded $125,000 stake. Came off the 1-year layoff and won against 5 horses, 60 cents on the dollar. Just powered over the field on class. So now we'll see, when the really second time back off the layoff, definitely going to be a big player if, ready to fire second time back off the layoff. The 4, Destino de Oro. This horse, if you look 2 starts back, was 80 cents on a dollar in a 12-horse field against Fione. And we all know how good Fione is, who's just been bucking heads with, what's that, Lauren?
Laurelin.
Laurelin, yeah. So this horse was 80 cents on a dollar against Fiona. That was crazy because coming off those, two races, on the grass, stepping up, getting better and better, looked like an absolute monster. And for whatever reason, that Kentucky Downs, there you go. That's one of the reasons.
Yep.
You almost put a line
Kentucky Downs curse.
Yeah. So, and the QE2, she really didn't do much running in that at all. She just, went around there, and Lush Lips got the perfect trip that day. Lauren Lynn got stuck back, and then Fiona was in that race, and she got stuck behind Destiny D'Oro, but she did pass Destiny D'Oro in the stretch that day and finished fourth, Fiona, and came back to win the Aqueduct race. So at the low price here, trip dependent, needs to come from the back of it. At 8-5, maybe some are going to be more appealing, but definitely one of the top contenders.
The reason this horse is a top contender for me is what we just talked about earlier in the show. This horse is plus 10, number one prime power. That's 55%. Besides the company she's been keeping, in addition to that, you have Brad Cox, you have Edgar Zayas, who was the best jockey at Gulfstream Park, no matter who's there. I mean, I know the big boys are going to be there as well for some of these races, but I'm working out like clockwork for the return. I think the class relief this horse gets, I think it's going to show itself here. And like you said, very likely to be down to 8-5 or less, but going to be, my opinion, hard to look past that horse. We'll see how that goes tomorrow. Next race, the number 5, Mischief in Motion, 10-1 morning line, ridden by Amiciel Jaramillo. The horse runs good races all the time. Fair buyer speed figure numbers, keeps up with the competition in terms of buyer speed figure numbers here. Another pace factor horse. Michael Trombetta is one of his additional mounts you mentioned here. He also has a 2-horse Super Willow. So this horse has speed, probably going to be forwardly placed. See how long the horse can hold up. Not sure it's going to really be quite there at the end in terms of putting their nose out in front at the wire, but a good horse to keep in mind.
Yeah, that was something I was looking at, like what you said there. I was figuring that, it's going to maybe forwardly place, maybe get the lead, just not have enough at the end. But when I went back and looked at that race, it doesn't really look like the running lines. If you watch the video, that, the horse was back there in like third, fourth, and then he made this like big sweeping move, like, early into the turn and just tried to run away and hide. And I think he just made such a premature move that the horse that was sitting perfect, the 7-horse we're going to be talking about, Crafty Collector, just sat the perfect trip and just passed a horse that, prematurely moved, got tired in the last 50 yards, and the closers really couldn't get into the race. They, were sitting too far back. So I think this horse might be a little bit tighter, and a better timed ride could be a factor. There's 4 horses coming out of that same exact race, and, that's one of them that I would take out of that race. Out of the, 4 of them, he would be one of the 2 that I would take out of that race. Moving into Ramsey Pond, second one that was in that race. And he got in all kind of trouble. He had a rough trip. He didn't shake loose till like the top of the stretch, where basically the race was over. He came running to get third, but no catching the top 2 at that point. So with a little cleaner trip, switching to Tyler Gaffalione, him and Safi, clip on a 27%, in Safi. So third time back off the layoff, second time away from Kentucky Downs. So with a better trip, another one. That this is a wide open race full of contenders here.
I 100% agree with that. Again, Jaramillo, just a quick note in the race, the horse before Mischief in Motion, it's his second time on the horse, so definitely going to have a better feel for when to make a move with that horse. And Gaffalione getting back on this horse, he rode him a while back, but Gaffalione has continued to ride very well down at Gulfstream Park, always has ridden very well down there. And with Safi Joseph Jr., one of the best trainers down there in Gulfstream Park, that horse definitely at 12-1, in my opinion, is definitely a must-use. The number 7, Crafty Collector, 10-1, Gerald Bennett. Not sure. This horse is kind of an up and down horse. Edwin Gonzalez, pretty decent jockey, stays on the horse. Has won twice at Gulfstream Park. This horse took a long time to break her maiden. This horse doesn't fit my bill for a horse to look at, John.
Now, it was 61-1 last time. The owners just said, hey, she's doing good. Let's put her in a race here and, see what we get lucky. Got the perfect trip. Everything just seemed to work out. 61-1. Like you said, it's not, my kind of horse. I probably would not take it to, repeat that effort, in this field, which I think is a lot tougher than that, $75,000 stake that
Oh, yeah.
day.
Yeah.
Moving on to Supazanda. Not much here except 2 for 2 on the turf is the only thing I can, say. Marcassi's other one. What are the odds on this one? 12 to 1.
12-1.
Might
12 to
drift
1.
up a little bit, other than those 2 turf races, but just absolutely horrible on the dirt and the synthetic. Absolutely put a line through them. Now you got, an 80 buyer last time, which is very competitive with this field. Live Oak Plantation, second Live Oak runner in this race. So another one I'm probably going to fade, but, if the odds start to drift on this one, 2 for 2 on the turf.
Yeah, I agree. That's the biggest point that I would look at to say this horse, she has a chance. I mean, 47 buyer, first time on turf, won 7.5 furlongs. Second time in between a couple races in between on dirt and synthetic, goes back to turf, pops an 80 buyer. Again, very competitive with this field. Invading again from Woodbine after being at Gulfstream Park earlier in her career. So, and been stationed down here at Gulfstream Park for a little while, a couple of weeks, and been putting some workouts in. So another interesting horse at 12. Again, a lot of horses with a lot of odds here. Speaking of odds, we'll go to the next one. It ain't 2. Great Britain bred, Riley Mott, who was a young trainer, obviously son of Bill Mott, coming into his own. The horse been in some competitive graded stakes races and never really disgraced himself except for the second race back. Again, shortening. Those were 2 short sprint turf races, with 3 back at Woodbine when the horse did win. Was a grade 3 race with a decent field, was on an outside post and won. So, David Egan's a jockey who is pretty good down there at Gulfstream Park. 19%, but tends to ride good in big races. Doesn't get a lot of mounts as many as some of the other names there, like Jaramillo and Alvarado and Gaffalione, etc. But when that jockey gets a mount, particularly on turf, and this horse stretching out again for the second time to a mile, 10 to 1, I find this horse kind of interesting.
Yeah, I got excited when I saw the running lines against She's So Spicy.
Yep.
3 times faced She's So Spicy Breeders' Cup champion. But that's a Breeders' Cup champ at 5 furlongs. She's a 6.5 furlong specialist here. Now they're asking her to go a mile and, some against this level of competition first time. And it's not like she's going to be, on the lead by herself and then carry him as far as she can.
Yeah.
Working out a trip, going 2 turns for the first time.
A lot.
It's a tall task. I'd have to, see a race here, and if she could go, get the 2 turns. But, I don't think I want to take her going 2 turns against this field first time.
Agreed.
Moving on to number 10, Super Speed. Brian Lynch, 5 for 8 at the meet, on fire, absolutely. Trainer jockey, 25%. First time with the trainer, Lynch, 25%. Every stat says, this horse is going to be good. Coming off a 6-month layoff, where she did come out of the grade 1 Ashland and the Santa Ysabel out in Santa Anita, where she faced Lacara, who had some big grade 1 victories this year. And she was only 4 to 1 in that race against Lacara. So people did respect her. They did like her. On the grass, definitely has a shot. How is she going to be off the 6-month layoff against this field from the 10 hole, where she's got to be forwardly placed? So
sure,
Junior's going to have to work out a trip out there. And what is the odds here? At 7-2.
Yep.
Another contender, but there's just too many that you could take at 6 to 12 to 1 that I would feel a little bit better at than trying to pick which one of the 5 to 2s or 3 to 1s that's going to run good.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said there. I mean, and this horse certainly is the class of the field. Broke her maiden first time out, just jumped right into stakes races, a full diet of stake races, 1 optional claiming race, won that. Getting Junior Alvarado on for the first time to me is a plus. Brian Lynch, as you mentioned, on fire there. Junior Alvarado, taking a lot of mounts down there in Gulfstream Park. I think that says something, and he's a very good turf rider. So I think this horse is kind of a deserved favorite in spite, again, some of the concerns you mentioned. The last 2 races were on dirt. So maybe that's another reason why I took some time off. It's been getting some works on turf for the return. So a little bit of a couple question marks there, John, but I don't think I'm going to leave that horse out just on my notes. The next horse, 11, No Sleep Till Brooklyn. For all you fans there of, I forgot the name of that group, No Sleep.
Beastie Boys.
Yeah, that was your.
The Beastie Boys, yeah. Fred,
We reloaded.
You're back.
I guess we mentioned the Beastie Boys and our feeds went out. That was bad. I won't mention it again. Anyway, No Sleep Till Brooklyn. This is a big long shot here, 30-1. Interesting Brian Lynch entry. Horse won 2 times in 11 races. Mario Gutierrez getting on this horse for the first time. They do win some races together, but I just don't see this horse having a shot. The Beyer speed figures are nowhere near where they need to be. This is as you say, John, this is a fade. That was a haircut back in the day, the Beastie Boys too. Fade.
Yeah, I can't make any case for this horse other than Brian Lynch, and they paid $500,000 for this horse. But other than that, just too slow based on numbers, and been beaten by everybody in this field by convincing length. So
that was the thing I saw. $500,000 they bought this horse for, and hasn't even cracked 100,000 in winning.
And the last horse, Miss Marinelle, goes to the lead on the synthetic. But if you look at the couple turf races, doesn't have that turn of foot and gets the lead there. The only shot this horse would have had from out there is just bolt out to the gate and lead him as far as they can. But from out there on the grass, Bravo's not going to, I can't see any kind of trip that this horse can get to even hit the board. So a quick fade for me on that one.
Yeah, the post really kills me. I mean, I like Joey Bravo as a turf rider. If he has a horse that has some gears to run, he'll make him run. But from that post, that's going to be a tough one. And I agree at 30-1. That's a fade for me as well. 2 also eligible is Brown Sugar. A lot of good song references here. A little Rolling Stones action there. 20-1. If this horse is in, another Safi Joseph Jr., ridden by an excellent jockey down there and gets around a lot. When he's not riding at Gulfstream Park, this jockey, Micah Husbands, is going to find some mounts, and he has lots of different places. 20-1 again. The slot 13 doesn't ring, give me any real support to make me say, okay, I really like this horse. I like Micah Husbands. I like Safi Joseph Jr. putting Micah Husbands on this horse, but I think this horse is going to have a tall task to break from that post and get any kind of position, John.
Yeah, I think both also eligibles, if they do draw in and they're going to be the 12 hole, if they do go in, it's going to be, a tall task. I don't really see any of them, on the grass here being, a true factor in this race, either 13 or 14.
Yeah, I agree with that on 13 and 14. So we can move on to the other stakes race at Gulfstream Park on Saturday. It is also a 1/16 on the turf, the Tropical Park Derby for 3-year-olds. Another full field of 12 horses. So it's going to be a very competitive betting race. Could be a lot of value in there. We'll start with the horse that I have a little interest in, the number 1, Thundering. Yair Torres, a jockey who has made a name for himself down there at Gulfstream Park. When we were doing Gulfstream Park back in the early days of Let Him Run, and we were looking, there was a couple jockeys down there. Yair Torres was one of them, and a couple other ones that were making their name. Fuenmayor, don't have to pick up where he ended up going, but Yair Torres has stayed there. Now, this horse, 2 back, ran a very nice race at a 1/8 on soft turf. The Hill Prince Grade 3 didn't do a really good job there. Okay, dropping in class now, back to kind of where this horse belongs. Torres, that's not the Torres that was on him before, but I like this horse getting on. Torres getting on this horse, getting blinkers on. If you look at the workouts that they put the blinkers on, he did well. First time with trainer Derek Ryan, 35%. Stakes races, Derek Ryan, 35%. From the rail, definitely going to save the ground there, and has the ability to get out of the rail or out of the post from the rail and put this horse forwardly placed. I think this horse has a little shot, interesting shot at 20-1, John.
Maybe somebody could use underneath, but when I go through a race and see 1 for 10, this horse eligible for non-winners of 2 lifetime. Now they're going to tackle stakes company here.
Stakes race. That's a negative.
So that's a negative for me. If it was like 3 starts and had 1 win, up and comer, that's a different story. But when a horse has had, multiple starts like this one, it's really, I usually pass on them kind. So I'll probably, do the same here, passing on this one. The second horse, Discreet Dancer, the 2, total bomb, been double-digit odds his whole life. 1 win, eligible for non-winners, a 2. Really hasn't been close other than the optional, claimer at 12-1 at Churchill Downs. Second time back off the layoff. Trainer that's 0 for 17, 1 for 9 lifetime. Probably a strict fade for me.
Yeah, I agree. I don't see anything in my assessment of this horse other than Johnny V getting on the horse, but I don't think that's enough to put that horse over the top at 30-1. The next horse, number 3, Tiz Dashing, going to be one of the morning line favorites, probably the post time favorite. Javier Castellano getting on second off the layoff. Ran all over the place at Gulfstream, Aqueduct, Saratoga, Kentucky Downs. Barclay Tag, a very well-known trainer, puts horses where they belong. 7-2, second off the layoff, not a long layoff, September, working out well for the return. Tis the Law, out of Tis the Law. I think this horse has a pretty good shot.
Yeah, definitely one of the major players here. Faced Giacoso, who came back and won that race 2 weeks ago. Zulu Kingdom, who's been the champ. Old male turf horse in the summer all year long, ran off about 5 in a row. Was pretty close against that one. This one, if he gets the right trip with Castellano, can definitely, make some noise.
Absolutely, yeah.
At that mod. So one of the major players in this race for sure. Church and State. I didn't have too many marks next to this one. Let's see. Turning back a little bit from the 1 1/8 distance. Faced Tiz Dashing last time. Tiz Dashing beat it convincingly. This horse was 28-1. Probably, maybe at best, like a third or fourth. Round out your tries and your supers. The best I could see for this. Micah Husbands piloted. Steve Owens' horse.
Yeah, I mean, I like the fact that Micah Husbands is on the horse. Never been on the horse before. The trainer, Steve Owens, a decent trainer, has some good stats to back him up in terms of off a layoff, how he gets the horse ready, 33%. First time with trainer, 9 times, 22%, not bad. I don't see this horse as being a horse I am going to use either, John. Has 4 wins in the lifetime, but only one of them is on turf. So, again, I think this horse is a pass for me. The number 5, Day and Age, 20-1, one of another Mark Casse horses in here. I think the buyer speed figures don't match up with any of the horses in this race. I don't see a lot of reasons in terms of when I go through my my way of looking at the horse that I have anything other than Mark Casse as a trainer, but that's not enough for me to use this horse, John.
Yeah, same here. In and outer, and the only time that she does win, maiden special weight, optional non-winners of 1 event, and a non-winners of 3 lifetimes. So she won her 3 conditions. Stepping out of the conditions was not competitive, basically, in those turf races, similar to the race she's facing today. So I can't really make a case other than, Mark Casse's putting her in this spot. Layabout. Here's an interesting horse. Definitely, one that I'm going to be using. The buyers have been going up for the last, 5-6 starts.
Sure.
The only race that she got so far back against Plenza and Giacoso there was at Kentucky Downs. Put a line through that. She reels off, 3 in a row. And I don't know what happened last time where, unless she got to the lead and just lost interest, where she was just, so far in front of them that she just lost interest, which I've seen my horse in a workout do the same thing. When she gets in that lane and she loses interest, just totally slows down. And that's not a good thing. So maybe a better timed ride. And you're picking up Junior Alvarado here. More of a, that one run down the lane kind of thing, not get the lead top of the stretch and try to hold on. So this one also worked out with Beach Gold. Patrick Baker, other horse, a 4-year-old. That last workout worked with Beach Gold, who is a stakes winner, and older horse, 4-year-old. And this horse, this 3-year-old Layabout, outworked. And they probably worked it with that in mind, what happened last race. They put Layabout on the lead, and they had Beach Gold chasing to put some pressure to see if Layabout would let the other one come up and pass, and basically held Beach Gold, who was trying to get by, at bay the whole time. So that workout was, encouraging. Throughout those dirt races where absolutely no shot on the dirt, this is a major player for me, one of my top, picks.
I agree that I drew a line through the race at Kentucky Downs, which happens often. Again, that quirky course, a horse just may not like it. Draw a line through that race since Patrick Bancone picked up this horse and trained this horse, picked it up from another super trainer, Brian Lynch. The horse has been just getting better and better, as you mentioned. Getting Junior Alvarado, getting a price of 10-1. I would love to see 10-1 on that horse when the gates open, John. So yeah, big time on that horse. The number 7, Chapman's Peak, is my kind of pick. Brad Cox horse, Tyler Gaffalione getting on the horse, taking over for Irad Ortiz, who has been on this horse for the last 3 races. This horse is also getting better too, and I think this race fits this horse's style perfectly, because it's going to stay up there with the front runners and not going to let any horses get away from this horse. And I think Gaffalione is the perfect jockey for that, who could put this horse in a good position to stalk. And I like this horse a lot, especially at 5-2. This horse is definitely a horse that I am going to be looking at very, very closely.
Yeah, this definitely is one of my kind of horses. So I'm going to keep it in the middle of this field here between the 6 and 7. That's, somehow going to structure around them too. Brad Cox. And if you look at this horse, every single field that this horse faced, double-digit starters. I mean, to see a 3-year-old.
Interesting, yeah. I didn't notice
10,
that.
12, 11, 10, 11, 11. You never see that, especially not in California. You would never see that. But here, I mean, they're just all big fields, and this horse is, trying every time. So, throw the one race out with the off-the-track race, put a line through that. Last 3 on the grass has been, pretty darn good. Got beat by Giacoso, who tripped out that day and, just got her at the wire. So this is definitely one that, I'm going to, lean on the Godolphin, Brad Cox. Stimulate, another one that I want to try to find a case for. It's the last race at Kentucky Downs, put the line through that. And then the last race, really don't have no idea, what happened there. They were actually sizzling on the front end, 47-4. And this horse should have came running a little bit more and really, didn't do much running at all. But Giacoso came out of that race to win his next start. So maybe that was a, decent race, a key race. So if the odds, what were the morning odds on this one, Fred? That was
12-1. 12-1.
Somebody for Mott at 12-1, I could definitely include underneath. So the 6, 7, and 8, like somewhere in that mix right there. But definitely an 8 is used for me.
I find it interesting for me that Bill Mott did not put his go-to rider on this horse, Junior Alvarado, who knows the horse very well. Obviously, last ridden by Irad Ortiz, completely, understandable there. Joey Bravo, not a terrible jockey, but I just wonder, why Junior Alvarado didn't get on this horse for Bill Mott. Obviously, Patrick Bancone, Alvarado never rode that horse the 6 before. Maybe there's something I am missing, but it just kind of makes me scratch my head a little bit.
I tell you, that's a great point. I didn't pick up on that, and that is really head scratching. So maybe I would downgrade the 8 a little bit based on those factors that Alvarado did not ride this one for Mott, and makes me think the 6 might be more live, that if he's passing up a chance to ride for Mott for Patrick Bancone. So I like the 6 more, and I would downgrade the 8 based on that information.
Okay, so let's go to the 9 then. Roar of the Beast. I'm watching a good show called The Beast and Me.
I watched it. It's pretty good.
Speaking of beasts. So this horse 20-1, Joseph Safi Joseph Jr., Raj Marag on him. Got some early pace. Definitely going to be a pace setter from out here. Interesting at 20-1. I don't think this horse is good enough to take this horse or take this field all the way around. But it's going to be interesting to watch, because I guarantee this horse is definitely going to bolt out of the gate. Marag is a good jockey with that, so he's going to give this horse a good run. Is the lone E. If you're going to Brisnet, doesn't mean he's going to win, but has a couple elements going for him. I just think he might be a speed horse setting up for some of the other closers in this race. But at 20-1, I'm going to, probably take a look at him in some regard, perhaps even in the contest, depending on where I am at in the contest, to look at this horse as maybe a way to get me out of a deep hole if I'm in one, John.
It could be mathematically your only chance left that you might lean on like a 40-1 shot in order to, have a chance at the contest. And sometimes with those contests, you're up against it where you're strictly betting numbers and odds, not your best pick.
Sure.
It all depends on where you're backed into a corner with a contest. So
Gotcha.
This one here is not for me. And even if I was up against it in a contest, I don't think it would be my pick to let it all ride. Last bet on this one. So total pass for me. Candy Town, 15-1. Just the hard trier was favored 3-1 over the 12 horse who we're going to talk about for Trombetta. He was favored over that one. Ran with Salamis, who was pretty darn good.
Sure.
Won the race before that. So definitely gradually like improving 3-year-old. But did he hit his ceiling? Did he hit like where he is now? And there's maybe not much more room for improvement. Not sure. What are the odds on this one?
8-1.
How much?
8-1.
8-1. I probably need a little bit more, like 12 or 15 to, consider, but Zayas and Pletcher, tough to leave them off. But
sure.
I would probably fade at the lower than double-digit odds.
Yeah, I agree. I think this horse, certainly with Zayas on board and Pletcher as the trainer, got to take a look at it, but I don't think the horse is just quite up with the quality of some of the other horses we already mentioned in this race. The number 11 Tank, 8-1, ridden by Jaramillo, has been in some serious stakes races the last few outs. Knows Gulfstream Park well, knows the distance well. Just seems to have been having trouble the last few races. That's probably why trainer Carlos David put this horse on the shelf for a little while since September, because the last couple of races before that were a little rough, although 4 or 5 races back had showed some speed on turf. So this horse probably could be another pace factor if he's ready to run. Again, not to necessarily win the race, but definitely will definitely from this post will hit the gas and try and get out there and see what happens. Again, don't think this horse has a chance to win, John, but I just think, in my opinion, it's going to be another pace factor.
Yeah, another one on the front end, mixing it up. Did run competitively. Those last 2 races were just really so bad. He had it going on in the middle of the summer at Gulfstream. They shipped to Saratoga that first start in the Belmont Derby, a grade 1 against Test Score and World Beater. Held his own a long way. Then the next 2 races were just dreadful. He couldn't make the lead, and if he doesn't make the lead here, you could see when he doesn't make the lead, he's almost last. So I would find it hard for him to make a lead, especially the 9 on the inside of him probably would get the lead over him. So I find his task almost impossible. Moving on to the 12 Super Forces, and here comes Live Oak Plantation again, another Michael Better runner here. Let's see, Channing Gill. I don't know much about the jockey Channing Gill, but he's is he a Woodbine guy, or where's Channing Gill from?
I think he's a traveler. He goes all. I think it might be originally or done a lot of his work up at Woodbine.
Okay,
but he's travel. He comes to Gulfstream Park and he wins.
Yeah, this horse. He's got better all 3 starts. They didn't debut it till August, and ran 1 race every month, and then got getting better and better. He beat the horse that I talked a lot about, Layabout. He's the one that passed Layabout's early premature move last time.
Yep.
So maybe Layabout was good, and this horse just might be better. What kind of trips he going to work out? He faced a 6-horse field, 8-horse field, and 11-horse field, but he's never been stranded out here in the 12-hole. So we're going to have to see all Channing Gill's skills in order to get this horse, into position to make that patented run. If he's in position, top of the stretch, and it didn't drain him to get there, this horse has a big chance turning for home. You want him with that turn of foot, top of the lane, if he's in position.
I love this horse. I call it the Rodney Dangerfield horse. All he does is win, and every time he wins, he doesn't get bet. 3-1, 6-1, 18-1. He just keeps winning, and the odds on him just keep going up, and his buyers are going up as the distance goes up. I like this. Like you said, if he can get a trip from out there, and he certainly, is a closer for sure. Not been this far out before. Maybe a couple scratches might get some of the also eligibles in, or the one also eligible that's in the list. Get this horse a little closer. If 2 horses scratches in a 10 hole, If he gets a couple spots more closer to the rail based on some scratches, I really like this horse at 8-1. I definitely think, it's Gill's only mount. He's coming in just for this mount. I think his odds will definitely be higher than 8-1 for sure. That may be a horse that we might want to look at, or I might want to look at, depending on where we are in the contest tomorrow. But the last horse in this is McRaven, not to be confused with McLovin, but this horse is 20-1, ridden by Ruiz. Just broke the maiden 2 back. Again, way out here on the post. Buyer speed figure is very similar. Again, young horse could improve, but not my type of play, John.
Not on the outside, no. But you did mention the 12. That's definitely one at the right odds. Late in the contest, that could be that 8-1 shot that, gets you over the top in the contest if you have, bullets left. So would be one that I would consider.
We'll keep that in mind as we move on to the big race tomorrow, the Los Alamitos Futurity in California. 10 points to the winner for the Kentucky Derby, a nice Derby prep. 6 horses in this race.
I think they renamed the race. It's not the the Futurity. It's the Bob Baffert Futurity.
Well, he's won it 14 times, if you haven't heard that. Won 9 out of the last 12 times, has 3 horses in this field. So very likely that streak is to continue. But we'll start with one of the horses that's not a Baffert horse, the number 1 horse. Acknowledge me, please. A lot of people are kind of liking this horse, I guess, just because they want to like somebody other than a Baffert horse. But, Doug O'Neill trained Slow Down Andy to win this race in 2021. This horse definitely has some speed that he's going to have to use from the rail to have any chance. His buyer speed figures need to go up. He's stretching out for the first time. So interesting. I don't have the odds up for this because I don't think I had them yet when I did this. So I'm not sure. I'll have to look and see what the odds are, but probably 8-1 or something like that.
7-2.
7-2. Okay.
Yep.
My bad.
So,
7-2.
this race here, I remember, back in the day, this was the Hollywood Futurity. And they had such great renewals of the Hollywood Futurity, 25 years ago, won by horses like Shared Belief, Snow Chief. It's endless, who ran in this race. Who the winner of this race was last year?
It's journalism.
Journalism. Yep. So it definitely attracts, big name horses, and it's worth noting that. And then the one horse here has the speed on the rail, trying to bottom out the whole field, and it's the only way that the horse is going to do it is go wire to wire. And you think with Baffert having 3 horses in here, he's not going to send one of them to keep this horse honest. So definitely, it's going to be a tough, tall task from the rail for O'Neill to wire this field of 3 Bafferts who will be stalking. He faked 5 horses his first race and 4 horses his other race, just like every California race is. So it'd be hard, but the only way you're going to beat him is to just really bottom out the field and giddy up and go from there.
He's amazing.
First Baffert horse, Providence here. This is breeding royalty on this one. Into Mischief out of a Monomoy Girl mare. Monomoy Girl, as we all know, is a dual 2-time Breeders' Cup Distaff winner. So the champ of all champs there. The breeding Spendthrift Farms, they kept the horse, then tried to sell it for, probably could have got $5 million for it. And now stretching out. It's weird that Baffert debuted this horse at over a mile, a 2-turn race, his first lifetime start. Baffert usually goes with those 6 furlongs and gradually gets the horse into that spot. But he debuted this one over a mile, and that's what he basically thought the horse won it. 50 cents on a dollar against Intrepido. So that didn't really work out that day. He was off a little bit slow. He was chasing the whole time. So they turned it back to build up the confidence, get that win, what Baffert's used to do, and made in special weight 6 furlongs, 40 cents on a dollar, and he won like he should. Now he's back to the 2 turns and the long stretch at Los Alamitos, where the horse he knows wants to be that 2-turn horse. So this is definitely one of the horses, the Bafferts, that I would consider, using on top.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, again, one of these horses, and it could be very well the 3, but one of these horses is going to blossom into one of those strong horses like last year. Journalism won this race. Whoever wins this race is certainly going to come out of it with some feelings that this horse is going to be a special horse. I think the 2 has a chance. Again, one of the, the 3 of the 6 horses that are Baffert horses. This horse has, according to EE, a 26% chance to win, especially in the small field. I think that percentage becomes more valuable. But, I'm going to go right on to the next horse, the 3-horse litmus test. JJ Hernandez jumps on him after taking him home in his maiden race. Him and Bob Baffert hit at 56%. At Los Alamitos, they hit at 40% everywhere else. It's going to be tough to look past. What's his odds? 2 to 3 to 5?
4 to 5.
4 to 5. Okay, that kind of makes sense. But this horse is the class of the field by quite a bit. Working out, ready to go. Again, plus 11, number 1 prime power means, I think, another reason why this horse is going to be tough to beat. I have a hard time looking past this horse, John.
I got a tough time, probably taking him at 3 to 5. I've seen so many of these like small fields, these Baffert races where it's a lot of time the other Baffert, the one they get high on and they bet. This one, every time I watch the video replays, it's just a grinder. He doesn't have that turn of foot. He just grinds and grinds. And maybe this is the perfect track for him. The Los Alamitos, that long stretch, he could just grind and outgrind anybody. And maybe they'd send Province coming out of the 6 furlong race to go tackle the 1 early. And this one could be sitting 3rd, just a perfect spot, and, outgrind them to the wire.
They're definitely going to send the 2 with the 1. There's no doubt about that.
I would think they're going to have the 2 on the 1's flank the whole way and go from there. And that would set up the 3 be sitting in, 3rd. At the low odds, if he's just a grinder and he could be one of those horses that finishes 2nd and 3rd all the time. And he hasn't done anything like flashy enough. That makes me think that, I'm going to take 3 to 5 on this spot here. The 4-horse, moving on, Blacksmith, maiden. He shows that he could close, can stretch out Liam's Map out of a Curlin mare. So we know the distance should not be a problem. Maybe, if the 1 and 2 do mix it up and the 3 is the plotter that, I'm thinking that he could be.
Yeah.
Maybe it sets up for the 4 that he could show a little bit of closing. He likes the 2 turns. He likes the distance. And you're probably going to get a square price on him. Somewhere in the line of 4 or 5 to 1, maybe, and it would be the other Baffert that wins this race. So I would lean Blacksmith just on the trip, the way it's set up, and the improving potential of this one.
Yeah, I think this horse is going to be the wise guy horse in this little small field. I've already had a lot of chatter that I've been hearing about this horse in some of the other podcasts and some of the analysts I've been listening to. Small field, bigger price, the best price of the Baffert horses, all those sort of sayings that we banter about and why you would want to pick a horse like this. I think it kind of makes sense. I don't disagree with that. Be interesting to see how it unfolds. I'm very anxious to see this race for sure. The number 5, American King, ridden by Gerardo Franco, trained by Ruben Gomez. No shot.
Ruben Gomez did the racing secretary a big favor. This is a race filler. I mean, if this horse, I can't even see how it can even be in this race. Based on numbers, he's 20 minutes behind these horses. So, it's still a maiden. They just had to fill the race so it wasn't another 5-horse race. So, if this horse is not 99 to 1, you're getting robbed. So, on to the 6, trying to find, an other Baffert. Here's another one that probably his only shot is to go to the lead. I don't know if he can break. They're taking the blinkers off. That maybe, hopefully, slow it down a little bit. Sadler, working his horse out great. Sadler knows how to win this race. I'd find it hard with the other Bafferts in here to get, tangled up. That he only shows 1 dimension so far, and you're going to take 6 to 1 on a horse that, has to show a new dimension. I would take the chance with the other Baffert at 5 to 1 to maybe show that new dimension of, closing in the stretch. So this one, the jury's still out. I'm not going to rule him out, but somebody that has to show it to me probably. I'm not going to, probably lean on him.
Yeah, there's no question the 1 and 6 are both going to be bolting out of the when the gates open. The 1 and the 6 both have the best equine edge early speed figures of 91 and 90, which are much higher than any of the other horses that may have some speed. So I think you're going to see the 1, 2, and the 6 all go out there and just see this 3 go over to the rail and then wait his turn to tip out and then go around. So I think that's how this field plays out with these horses in. But it will be interesting to see. Again, another Derby prep race as the Derby prep season starts to just begin to boil up and keep going. And talk a little bit. John and I tomorrow, we are going to be at Monmouth Park. Yes, in a nice contest there. I did it with you a couple of years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. It was a lot of fun. I learned a lot there. I think I've gained some knowledge since then, and I'm looking forward to going again, John, and giving it another shot.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. You got to just take those shots, and there are 2 seats up for grabs for Vegas in March. So hopefully we grab a seat or 2. Would be a nice exacta combo at the end of the day for Let It Run podcast to run 1-2 in the contest.
That'd be great.
So, yeah, it's a tough contest because it's a $150 live bankroll, and not my real kind of contest because you can only bet win and place and show. There's no exactas, doubles, tries. So win and place with a $150 budget, mainly betting, $15 and $20 bets until you get going. So, and you don't need like thousands of dollars in this contest to, make it. It could be $900. You could turn your 150 into 900 and wind up getting a seat. So keeping our eye on the leaderboard is the strategy all day to see what type of horses we can. I'm going to play 2 different entries. One entry, I might lean on some favorites to try to parlay maybe some favorites where, even money, 7 to 5 shots, try to catch 3 of them in a row by parlaying them. That could get you to $1,000 bankroll. Or take the other one and, take $50, $40 shots on 6, 8 to 1 shots to see if you can get something going. So 2 different methods you could take to try to hit your target number. A lot of times in these contests, you're going in with a target number that you're trying to come up with a betting strategy. How am I going to hit that target number? And you readjust on the fly as the leaderboard changes and as your picks win or lose.
Yeah. And I laid out strategies after I went through both of those races with how I look at those, in terms of what elements we talked about, handicapping elements we use, and knowing what you just said, having a target in mind. So I'm excited about that. We'll be doing our podcast live there at 12:30. We'll be doing it live there. And I want to just make sure that you see what I'm putting up here, because we have our eye on, or I do. And then when I talk to John about it, he'll probably agree. But a juicy first time starter, which I really like, at the Big A tomorrow. So tune in at 12:30 tomorrow, where we're going to talk about the final analysis of these races when the scratches come out. We'll talk about some of our picks. We're also going to break down the last 5 races at Aqueduct, breaking them down on the podcast, and then definitely going to be breaking them down in the contest. So that should be interesting when we do that. So make sure you tune in 12:30. We'll be on. You can catch us on multiple streaming apps and social channels. John, do you have any final thoughts before we get to tomorrow with our serious picks?
Yeah, I just looked at the Aqueduct 3rd race real quick for tomorrow, and there's a horse named, I guess, after you. I don't know if that's your big pick or whatever, but the name suits you to a T. Chad Summers' horse in the 3rd. Funky C, Funky Do. It is all about the funk.
Not the horse I was referring to, but a horse that I am looking at, though, for sure. And it's funny.
That is all you, Funk.
I think tomorrow I'm going to wear a funk hat. I'll do the podcast with the Let 'Em Run hat, but I'm going to bring a funk hat. That's a good point. But I did see that horse. I definitely want the horse I'm looking at, but not the juicy one I'm talking about. So, hey, as we close out, listen, just like we said, bet smart, cheer hard, fast horses equals serious fun. And until next time, let 'em run, guys. All right, have a good night, guys.